Welcome back. This is the lecture on Chapter 6 in State and Local Government. We're going to be talking today about interest groups and lobbying. First, let's talk about lobbying and basically what that means. In the early days of the United States of America, it was a well-known fact that one of our presidents liked to eat out all the time. This is in the days before private chefs at the White House. And he would eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner at his favorite restaurant. His favorite restaurant happened to be in a Washington, D.C. hotel. And because everybody knew that he ate there 3 times a day, people who wanted to talk to the President of the United States would quite simply go to that restaurant and wait on the President. Now, you didn't want to talk to the President before he went into the restaurant because he was hungry and he wouldn't stop to talk to you. But after he had eaten, he would walk out of the restaurant, again in a hotel, into the hotel lobby, and he would be willing to talk to anyone who was there waiting to talk to him. And so people would hang out in the lobby waiting to talk to the President of the United States. So that's where the term lobbying comes from. A lobbyist is a person who talks to elected officials to try and influence them. So a person trying to influence that particular president was hanging out in the lobby and became known as a lobbyist. What that person was doing became known as lobbying. It's as simple as that. But I got to tell you, language is important in everything that we study, everything that we do, and so it helps to understand the background of some of these things. So a lobbyist is someone who wants to influence government, and they influence government by trying to influence elected officials. Now, these lobbyists typically don't operate alone. They work for a variety of different groups, meaning they work for interest groups, because people band together if they have the same interests. If they have the same interests, they have learned over the years that it is a better fight to fight in numbers, and it is easier to influence elected officials if you represent lots of people and not just one person. So we have interest groups, and in the United States and in the state of Texas, we have a great many interest groups who are registered, who have lobbyists, and who try to influence the creation of laws in Texas and in the city of El Paso and in the county of El Paso. We have organizations like the NRA, the National Restaurant Association, and they have a Texas chapter, and that Texas Restaurant Association tries to influence laws pertaining to how restaurants operate in the state of Texas. Now, when I said NRA, I'm suspecting that most of you thought I was going to talk about the National Rifle Association. There is the National Rifle Association, and they have a Texas chapter, and they lobby the state legislature pertaining to laws on gun rights in the state of Texas. Most professional associations have interest groups who employ lobbyists. So if you're a CPA, a certified public accountant in Texas, then your association tries to influence laws in Texas pertaining to the practice of public accounting. If you're a doctor in Texas, the Texas Medical Association employs lobbyists trying to influence laws pertaining to the practice of medicine in the state of Texas. The same is true with nurses in Texas. If you're a dentist, the same thing. If you're a community college, the same thing. There is an organization that represents community colleges in the state of Texas. So, your assignment today, quite simply, is to figure out what interest group you're a member of and who they lobby on your behalf. Now, I know from experience that most of you are going to say, well, I'm not a member of any type of interest group. All of you are members of the same interest group. Now, some of you may be tempted to write down National Rifle Association. Some of you may work for a restaurant and you might want to write down the National Restaurant Association, or in the case of Texas, the Texas Restaurant Association and the Texas branch of the National Rifle Association. But that's not true. Not everybody in this class is a member of the Texas Restaurant Association or the National Rifle Association or the American Medical Association Texas chapter and so forth. But each of you is, and this may be the most difficult assignment you have this semester, each of you is a member of an association, an interest group. You're members of the same interest group. Each of you pays dues to that interest group. Each of you contributes to compensation for the leadership of that interest group. Each of you has an opportunity to vote on the elected officials who run that interest group. So, quite simply, your assignment is what interest group represents all of you who are students in this course at El Paso Community College. Blackboard course messages, and the answer quite simply needs to be about 10 words, if that long. Get it in. Talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.